Your next steps for explosive growth. Yes, that's what I'm supposed to talk with you about. Talk with you about, not to you about. So I want to talk with you about this. How many of you wrote down a goal when Alfredo indicated that you should write down what you will have within 90 days? Thank you. Thank you. How many of you feel like you refuse to be denied that goal? Like you will not live without it? Thank you. We're going to go talk to some people right now. Here we go. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I am very good. Why don't you stand up, tell us a little bit about who you are and what this 90-day goal is.
Dios Neri Pellegrin, 90-day goals is hitting my first 10K month. I'm blessed to have Alfredo as my sponsor. I've been to his house, been with his family, and the reason I got here, he said it last night we were talking about it. I watched a video with him and his family, and that just resonated. I mean, in our business, most people see us and they immediately think scam, things like that, but a real humble guy with his family, sharing his life and his story, that's what inspired me and got me in here. So that's my goal. I appreciate Alfredo, family, Project Apex, Team Freedom Fighters. So.
Awesome. Who's next? Here we go. Young lady in the green here. What's your name and tell us about your goal?
Yulia Tudor, and Vitaly is my sponsor, and to DA here, and we're really working on our Facebook strategy. We're writing story ads, and I'm starting to get some really good traction. So the next 90 days, we're basically going to be leveraging this whole event, making a bunch of videos. Really honored to be doing some interviews and delivering a lot of value. So that's going to add a lot of value to the story ads that we're going to be creating. So really honored and grateful to be here.
What's the end result? 90 days from now, here's what you've accomplished. What is it?
Well, from now, I want to hit consistently 10K a month. I'm really close to that right now, and eventually upscale to 20. So first hit the 10K consistently, and then upgrade from there.
10K a month within 90 days.
Do it.
Right here. Congratulations. Who's next? Over here. See, I'm getting my exercise in. This is good. Who are you?
My name is Eric Ellis, and the reason why I'm here is because I like coming to these type of events to shake the right hands. I believe in mentorship, like he said, and I'm not sure if you guys can relate, but my sponsor brought me on board, and they didn't make it, so I kind of was missing that mentorship, but I've always been that type of person who, like Alfredo said, I need to win, because I had a struggle background as well. So I wanted to come here to network, to meet the right people. I've seen so many people that I always look at on YouTube, and I see their content every day, so it's cool that I could match a face to a name, and it's awesome. The energy is amazing, but I want to get to 20K a month, and then eventually grow from there to where I'm a 7-figure earner.
Awesome. 20K a month right here. That was my first goal when I first got started in this industry. Well done. Who's next? Oh, here we go. Thanks for letting me run all the way over there and then run all the way back here. Yeah.
What's happening, guys? Vitaly from Israel here. So I'm really happy to be here. And over the last couple of years, you know, it's been up and down journey for me. So really my next level that I set for myself is hitting $50,000 a month, and I want to do it in a leveraged way. So Instagram and Facebook are main strategies I want to focus on, and I'm really grateful to network here in this event with all the amazing leaders at Digital Altitude. So I'm confident with the strategies I learned here, and I'll reach this level. I'll hit it.
Fantastic. $50,000 a month. Congratulations. We'll take one more. We'll take two more. You two there.
Hey, hi, everybody. Bernard here. The goal that I set, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I just know I want to get there. So, but the goal I set for 90 days, at least 5 rise sales and 5 ascend sales, and then we'll go from there and scale up.
All right. 5 and 5. Congratulations. And I had a hand over there. There we are. And I'm going to run right past these speakers. Here I go. The sound man's going to love this. He handled it. He's good. Who was it? Here we are.
Bogdan Lendl here, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you, everybody, and Michael and all the speakers, did a great job. The food was awesome. Did you guys like the food and the dancers and all that?
Oh, I ate like a slob.
It's
I'm not gonna
awesome
eat for a
how
week.
it's all set up, time, and I just love it. And the goal for 90 days is I want to help 5 people to make 10K. So it's about helping others. That's how I figured out. And then when you help others, you help yourself. The money just comes. And then so for the next 90 days, each month, I want to help 5 people to make 10K a day and 10K a month. And that's the goal. So I'm excited. I'm ready to rock this.
Awesome
Thank you so
stuff.
much.
Congratulations. Excellent. All right. And we are past the speakers. Okay. So, these are some pretty cool goals. Would you agree? And I would venture that if you're as serious about reaching those goals as Alfredo was in getting his family, like I said before, pulling himself up by his bootstraps, providing a lifestyle for his family that he knows that they deserve, and yet the methods he was using wasn't getting him there. If you're that serious about this, is there any reason that you couldn't do it? Does anyone have any lingering doubts about your ability to actually do this? No doubts. Excellent. Because there is a guy who lived back in the day. His name was Wallace D. Wattles. He wrote a book called The Science of Getting Rich. Did anybody ever read this book? Yeah? Okay, about 10 of you. Great. The rest of you, it's written in 1910. It is long out of copyright. Google it. Download a free copy. Okay? It's a short book. You can read it tonight. In this book, he talks about the idea that different people engaged in the same business can have completely different results. You could have 2 people engaged in the same business, even in the same town. One gets rich while the other remains poor. And of course, the question is, well, why? Right? This is a good question to ask. Why did this guy get rich and the other guy remains poor? Why? And he said, well, thanks for asking. The person who got rich did things in the certain way, while the person who remained poor did not. And of course, to do things in the certain way, you've got to think in the certain way. Now, for those of you who have read this book, you know that that phrase, the certain way, appears in the book something like 37, 38 times. The certain way, the certain way, the certain way. And I'm thinking, my goodness, I've read this book from this guy, Wallace D. Wattles. I want to do things in a certain way, but what does this guy know about the certain way? I mean, this was written in 1910. This is when pterodactyls were flying around and, we were making wheels out of stone. And I'm on the internet and all this. How could he tell me what the certain way is? Come on, Wallace, give me some tools here. Give me something I can use. So I got out the best self-help book ever written called The Dictionary. And I looked up the word certain because I had to know what is this guy talking about? And wouldn't you know it, one of the definitions for the word certain is the absence of doubt. The certain way. It's not some special way. It's not a secret way. It's not some particular way that the magical guy did because he's special. No. It's the way of no doubt. That is the certain way, and that applies across all time. So when you think about your goal, you got to start thinking about it as if it's a guaranteed future outcome, because if you say that's what it is, then that's what it is. What you validate expands. You understand what I'm saying? All of you who have been through our Aspire Steps, and you got to see about the incentive program, you got to watch a little bit of a movie called The Secret, right? You guys recall seeing that, right? The law of attraction and all this. Well, that's all very nice. What is it that we're really looking to do? What we're really looking to do is become more deliberate in our use of thought. It is that which separates us from our pets, okay? We can choose what we think, and unfortunately for a lot of people, regardless of how effective they want to be, or how many books they've read on personal effectiveness, or the 10 billion irrefutable, indisputable laws of this or that, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that gets on bestseller lists these days. Regardless of how many books on effectiveness you may have studied, you will not be effective if you yourself remain an effect. There's a guy named Ralph Waldo Emerson. Anybody ever heard of Ralph? Right, 1800s. We're going back a little bit now here. And he said that the law of laws is cause and effect. Cause and effect. So what we're doing here, what we're doing not just here with our digital altitude and online marketing and all this, but entrepreneurship in general, what we're doing here is returning you to a position of cause, because effects don't create effects. Only causes create effects. Are you following me so far? Are you following me so far? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Alfredo said 100% responsibility. Well, check this out. Everybody here wants control and freedom in your life. That is directly proportionate to how much responsibility you take for your life. And it's not even that you have to take it because it was always yours. You just have to accept it. That's how important your success is, not only to you and to your family, but also to some other people who you don't even know are looking right now. This is an important thing. Now, you may ask, well, John, yeah, I want this freedom and this control in my life. I want to have the time freedom. I want to have financial control, financial ability to live the life that I choose. Yes, I'm willing to take responsibility, but I don't quite know what to do yet. Aha, and there lies the foundation of how we're able to actually accept and work with a higher or greater sphere of responsibility, and that is we got to learn some stuff. Does anybody in this room, but before you came here today, did anybody consider yourself already an online marketing guru? My hand's not raised either. Okay, I'm not an online marketing guru. I have been studying personal growth philosophy for 30 years, and it saved my life and has made me millions of dollars so far. But the methods that I applied, they're changing all the time. But they're changing based on who I am and who my target market is. And they're changing for specific reasons. And that's what I want to get with you a little bit about here today, in the little bit of time that I've been given to share some of my deepest understandings about how me, a mechanic from New Jersey, who didn't know nothing, right? I just knew how to fix engines and not talk to people, how I went from that to the guy who's standing on this stage right now. I've published a couple of books. I got another one right here, by the way. What do you guys see of this? It's going to be something. But how did I go from that to that? And how did I do it in what would seem like an unreasonably short period of time? Well, I had a reason to do it. And Alfredo talked with you a lot about that, about the goals. You saw the desperate beginnings, the humble beginnings, right? That's great storytelling material, right? Anybody else have some material like that in your storybook that you're writing? Fantastic. Great news. Great news. Because a lot of times people, well, the old saying goes, facts tell and stories sell. They want to hear your story. And if you're like some celebrity who just showed up and everything was effortless for you, nobody can relate to that. That's not real. Every overnight success wasn't really an overnight success. I remember growing up in New Jersey, there was this guy named Bon Jovi. Anybody ever heard of Bon Jovi? Yeah, okay. And he came out with this hit song, She's a Little Runaway. And it was an overnight success. Well, they had been working on it for 10 years. Okay, so that's how quick that overnight success was, right? Putting that sound together, that band, the promotions, marketing. That's what this is about, is creating that brand, creating that momentum, and that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. I mean, after all, if success was easy, it would be mediocrity. Or you can look at it like this. Successful people are just lucky. Just ask any failure. They'll tell you, right? So you are separating yourself from the masses. You are reaching high above mediocrity, again, because you have a reason to do so. And those reasons include your own financial ability, the control and freedom that you obviously desire to have in your life and you've chosen to have in your life, but it also includes something else. And this is why I do what I do. You know, I can go anywhere and make money. Any of you could go anywhere and make money. You can go get a job. You can go join 10,000 other businesses. You could do whatever you want, right? You're a free citizen. Do whatever you want to do, okay? We've been blessed with a great opportunity here. And I'll tell you what, the biggest part, this is something that may blow you away. The biggest part of your financial independence that you're creating, starting right now, the biggest part of it is just the fact that you've got some degree of political liberty and free enterprise. You've got an environment of liberty and free enterprise that you can work in. That's about 80% of the equation of you achieving the life that you want. The other 20% is what you do with it. So I want you to think about this. There are people right now in parts of the world, they don't have the internet, they don't have the ability to communicate across borders and all this. They don't have language, they're illiterate, they don't know what to do, they don't even know that opportunities exist. You see how much of an advantage you have? There are people literally with their face down in the mud with a boot of oppression on their neck. So I'll ask you, is it worse to have your face down in the mud with a boot of oppression on your neck, or to have your face down in the mud with no boot on your neck. You see, this is your responsibility. You're powerful. All you got to do is stand up. All you got to do is get in the game. And I know a lot of you are in the game right now, and I want you to be in the game like you've never been before. Because I'll tell you, necessity gets people moving. It got me moving, and it also has created some pretty spectacular results over the years in ways that I didn't even expect. Any of you read my first book, Integrity is Everything? 2 of you? Thank you. Thank you. I didn't bring any with me, although I did have somebody hand me one to sign the other day. Integrity is Everything. I wrote that book after having people for some years ask me about my secrets, because they thought I had secrets, because here I was, the top earner of my company, and like I said before, Maseratis and Bentleys and all this kind of stuff. And people naturally thought I was special or something. They wanted to know the secrets, and I was like, hey, look, guys, we all went to the same seminars. We all read the same books. At least I think we did. We were told to. We all signed up in the same sort of a sales and marketing program and environment, opportunity, right? What's different about me? Well, here's what's different about me. I did something with the information. I took action on it as if my life depended on it. I signed up in that sales and marketing deal, and guess what I did? I did sales and marketing. I manned my post. I had integrity, and not even perfect. I'm not setting myself up as the ideal, although I'm pretty great. But I just had some integrity. Does that make me special? I don't think so. But so anyway, I wrote a 200-page book about it, and now here's no more secrets. You could go and see what I did. But one of the things I wrote in chapter 2 was a success equation, which I think if you get this, you really get this, this will solidify if there was any shred of counter-intention. Like, yes, I'm going to do this, but, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? You've got an intention, but you've also got counter-intention. Yes, I want this, but, and then there's like 10 million things, 10 million buts, right? It's called the case of the but eyes. Yeah, but I've got problems, I got a lack of money, I don't have the education, I'm in the wrong place, I'm married to the wrong person, I've got circumstances, I've got problems, successful people are lucky, all the million different buts that come in as a counter to your intention. That's what we've got to start eliminating, is that stuff right there, the stuff that stops us from reaching. You guys know what marketing is? Do you know what marketing is? You know what, I shouldn't assume. Who here could tell me what marketing is? Okay, I'm going to grab this mic again real quick. We're going to have a quick conversation here. Tell us, what is marketing?
Simply put, it's just taking a product or a service and transferring your enthusiasm to that audience to get eyes on that product.
Fantastic. So we're talking about transferring enthusiasm. That is my favorite definition of sales, by the way, the transfer of enthusiasm, right? Like, hey, I know something you don't know yet. You're living in a painful state of ignorance, so sorry for that. Here, come right this way and let me enlighten you, my friend, okay, about the benefits that could be yours should you choose to participate. And now he can know, but he can't know if I don't know, so I got to know first. That's the transfer of enthusiasm. That doesn't necessarily mean jumping up and down, like I'm all bubbly, hey, you want my business card? Hey, come to the party. That's just not me. So that's some people, right? But when I think about like the poster girl for network marketing, that's just not me, okay? However, enthusiastic nonetheless. That's a state of knowingness. Thank you. Anybody else want to tell me what is marketing? Back here.
Well, me and Vitaly had the honor and privilege to interview Jerry Minor, and we're just talking about what is sales and what is marketing. And it's really about having the authority and credibility to be a problem finder and therefore a problem solver. So I think a lot of people are not listening, they're talking, and they're talking themselves out of the sale, literally. So I use the doctor analogy. If you go into a clinic, and you go to the doctor and he just writes you a prescription without you telling their symptoms, that's kind of backwards. So why do we do that in business, right? So being a problem finder and a solver. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, marketing and selling is totally different things. And I think a lot of people confuse the two. Marketing is really all about educating the other person about the problem in general and how they can solve it, and really changing their beliefs about like what new perspective they need to have, what beliefs they need to adopt, new beliefs, new ways of thinking, first, in order to first get the buy-in that this is what they need before you even present a specific offer, solution. That's the selling part. The scarcity, the bonuses, the specifics of offering, that comes after people get the buy-in that they need it in the first place. So marketing is all about educating people on the general solution that this is what they need before you go to the specifics. So that's my take on marketing.
Very good, thank you. So these are some really cool definitions for marketing. And again, because I like the dictionary, it's my favorite self-help book, I'm going to refer to it again. And what I found out as I was browsing words like marketing is that there are as many definitions as there are people in the marketing world. Lots of people have different interpretations of it. Here's my favorite definition. Here's your post, your mission, should you choose to accept it. Marketing is the act of reaching into the public, impinging on their space, and putting their attention on that which you offer, purpose of which is to increase the demand for what you supply. Did you get all that? Marketing is reaching into the public, impinging on their space, and putting their attention on that which you offer, purpose of which is to increase the demand for what you supply. Now, you've got a great offer here. You've got at least one great offer here right inside this room. I've got several offers. I run several companies. I've got books, and I've got, of course, this. We've got lots of great offers that we can use to monetize our marketing. But as we just heard, marketing is the beginning of the sales enlightenment or educational process. Again, this is a process. Sales is not an event. Conversions can take time. You guys know this, right? You've seen, hey, we're building our list, and now we're cultivating a relationship with our list. Yes, we've impinged, and now it's time to warm that list up. Now it's time to create some trust and credibility. There's two words, trust and credibility, with the people that we would like to have participate in something that we're enthusiastic about and they know not of. They are living in a state of painful ignorance. They're working their job. They don't even know that an opportunity like this exists. Or if you're with a different product, they're painfully ignorant of the fact that this product, this service, this thing that you're offering even exists. So it's a process of enlightenment. So consider that. And it starts with reaching into the public and actually impinging on some space, right? Because if they remain ignorant, then you got no shot at selling them anything. Now, we know, because we've already heard from a lot of people up here, we know that people buy from people, right? I mean, anybody could offer X product. That's fine. You could offer X product. There's lots of people who do. Why should they buy it from you? Anybody ever heard of a term called unique selling proposition? Unique selling proposition. Okay, this is what separates you in the marketplace. This is a very strong statement of a point of differentiation. Why are you different? Why should somebody get something from you right now? In fact, if you can answer this question, I got this from the great Dan Kennedy, who's one of the greatest living direct marketing copywriters today. Dan Kennedy said, here's the question. If you can answer this question, you've got a unique selling proposition. And the question is, why should I buy from you, specifically you, right now, and not from your competitors, and not just sit here and do nothing? If you can answer that question, you've got a strong, unique selling proposition. Why should I buy from you right now, not any of your competitors, and not sit here and stall and do nothing? Sometimes it takes a long time to answer that question. I don't expect you to come up with an answer to it right now. If you've got an answer, great, write it down, and then write down like 50 more answers to it, and then write down 50 more, and you'll come up with something really strong. One of the great examples of this was Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza, fresh, hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. You guys know about that? You know how that company got its footing, by the way? It started near a college campus where there were a lot of college kids smoking some not necessarily legal stuff, and they had like instant cravings, you see, for carbohydrates, and they were mentally impaired. They couldn't drive, right? So they needed fresh, hot pizza, guaranteed, in 30 minutes or less, okay? Now, did Domino's say it's good pizza? No, never said that. They said it's the best pizza in town? Nope, never said that. Fresh, hot, fast. You need carbs now. Here comes Domino's Pizza, right? And that's how they got their footing. Unique selling proposition, like FedEx, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. Okay, that's why you use FedEx and not any other possible service. Okay, so I want you to start thinking about that, but we're going to take it one step further. I'm going to go back to my book here in a second about how important your success is, not just to yourself, not just to your family, but to me and to people you don't even know who are looking right now. So I think we would all agree that success, whatever that means for you, whatever those goals are that you set, that success requires action. Would you agree? No? Yeah, let's get people awake here. Yes? Thank you. Success requires action. Okay, so we all agree on that. Anybody disagree? Anybody could sit here and just meditate and levitate and like manifest, bam, fish and loaves, you know? No, I'm not there yet either, right? I tried the fish and loaves thing. They had fish and loaves at the buffet last night. I ate theirs. I didn't manifest my own. Okay, so success is going to require that we take some action, that we do something. Now, action, see, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, what is really at the base of my success? You know, because I grew up broke on the streets of New Jersey. Alfredo Delgado's story and mine are very similar in some ways. And, you know, after some time, I looked up people, if I could find them on the internet, maybe on Facebook or YouTube or something, people who I grew up with, you know, the other kids we were running the streets with, and I couldn't find most of these people. A couple of them that I could find, they were worse off than, you know, when I left, when I pulled myself out of the gutter all those years ago. Some of them I'm sure have deceased by now. And so I was thinking, why me? Why did I pull myself up out of the gutter? Why am I special or whatever I am? So I started coming up with this equation. Success required action. Yes, I took action. They didn't take action. But wait, it's got to go deeper than that. What is required to take action? Let's see here. Willingness to act. Again, I'll refer to the dictionary. That word is motivation. I was motivated. Yes, that's it. So I succeeded because I took action. I took action because I was willing to act. I was motivated. That must be the key. But hold on a second. Why was I motivated? You see, I keep asking why. I look at it go down this rabbit hole. Why was I motivated? Well, I was motivated because I believed. Yes, I believed I could. I believed that I could. I saw that you know, there were things that I thought I could achieve. I started to build some self-esteem. I started to do some esteemable things, right? Like some of you who know you've been on my training calls and stuff, you know I like going to the gym. That's an esteemable thing. Anybody here want better self-confidence, more self-esteem? Great, just do esteemable things, right? And so I believed that I could have a better result if I but got willing to act and yes, did take the action, and there would be success, right? So you see where we're going with this. So success required action. Action required motivation. Motivation required belief. And you all just said to me, you all just attested that you don't doubt that you can do this, so you've got the belief. But here's the question now. What was at the core of my belief? Why did I believe? Why didn't all these other people believe? And the answer that I came up with after some meditation on this was because I saw evidence. I saw you succeed. I saw other people in my life who were demonstrating to me more resourceful living, better results. And I said, aha, it is possible. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I had a little kernel of hope, just a little bit of hope. Now, hope is not a strategy, but it's an on-ramp to a strategy. From hope, we can build a little bit of belief. We can get motivated. We can take some action. We can succeed at a higher level. And then we arrive at that knowingness, like we were just talking about with sales, the transfer of enthusiasm. The last four letters of the word enthusiasm, by the way, at least in the English language, are IASM, which stands for I am sold myself. That means I know something. So we start with a hope. We go through belief, and then we arrive at a knowing. And now we are qualified to sell. Knowing. But it all started with evidence. Me seeing somebody else do it, me having eyes to see. Now, some people don't. Like Alfredo talked about before, some people, maybe even some people close to you, are antagonistic to your success. Maybe they're not deliberately being antagonistic, but hey, my friends, the purpose of the herd is to keep you in the herd. Okay? You're going to go charging out like a rhino out from all these cows, chewing their cud and waiting for the slaughter. It's not going to be necessarily a walk in the park. In terms of like the social agreement. People like to agree a whole lot and be social about all of our problems, and we got so much trouble, and oh my goodness, don't you know there's limits to everything? This is called tacit consent. This is called an unspoken agreement between mediocre people of how we can all go slow and get nowhere together. We can all fail in slow motion. And we can all tiptoe through life, hoping to make it safely to death, and that's it. That's what it's all about. Purpose, what's that? So think about this. Your success is that important because there are people who are going to answer your advertisement for your business, your service, your opportunity, whatever your offer is. 90 days, 6 months, a year from now, they're going to answer your advertisement. They're going to answer my advertisement. They're going to see, in the case of working at home and working online, opportunity and stuff like this, they're going to see evidence, perhaps for the first time. Maybe right now they're working their job. They're not in Maui eating kalua pua'a and watching hula dancing. No. They're in the cubicle, like Dilbert. And about 90 days and 15 seconds from now, they're going to wake up and they're going to say, oh, this sucks. Let me get online and let me go find an alternative. And it's your story, your example, that will give them that little kernel of hope so they can start to believe that, yes, this could be possible for themselves too. They don't know about this guy, John Lavenia, this Italian guy from New Jersey. I don't know about that guy. But you, I mean, I see them doing it. It's actually funny. I had a person, this has happened a few times. I've got, in one of my companies, I've got a business partner, and we have sometimes things that we offer people, different offers that we put out there. And this person contacted me because they saw one of our offers, and they said, oh, John, yeah, this looks great. I'm so glad to see you're doing this. I talked to that other guy, my partner, they didn't know it. I talked to that other guy. I don't like him. He's an asshole. But now that you're doing it, oh, sign me up. I'm like, you're right. That guy's a rotten bastard. You need to come in here. Same account. Same account. Okay, so the point is that people buy from people, right? And I can't sell everybody. They don't like my hair. They don't like my eyebrows or something. Hey, whatever, right? There's 7 billion of us on the planet. There are a few variables here. Would you agree? Okay, so we're going to work with those variables, and we're going to do what I love to do, which is sell what you got. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you in the next 8 minutes. I'm going to tell you how to sell what you got, as if your life depends on it, okay? Because, yes, I rose up to success by applying certain principles. One of those principles is 3 words. If you get nothing else out of my talk today, get 3 words. This is right out of chapter 4 of my first book, 3 magic words. These 3 words are be, do, have. Those 3 words in that order. Be, do, have. Think about this. Johann Goethe, one of the great philosophers of the 1800s, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, he said, one must be something in order to do something. And I thought, yeah, man, of course. What are you telling me here? That sounds exceedingly simple. You know, I got a bit of an IQ. And but then I started to think about it. One must be something in order to do something. And obviously, just when I went through my whole rabbit hole experience of finding out why did I succeed and most people didn't, I discovered that, well, you've got to do something in order to have something, right? Well, we wanted to be successful, so that means we're going to take some action. We all agreed on that, right? So one must be something in order to do something. Well, one must do something in order to have something. Be, do, and have. And turns out he wasn't the first guy to talk about this. I can go back thousands of years into Eastern and Western scripture, and I can find this again and again and again, and so few people get it. So few people get it. Most people think, well, you know, if I only had better circumstances. You know, Bob, if I only had more money in my bank account, or a better education, or if I wasn't married to this person here, or if I didn't live in this spot, or if I just had more luck, if I only had better circumstances, well then, now I could do the things I want to do. I could make those big decisions. I could start that business. I could take the action. And then, of course, I would be that person I always wanted to be. I would finally be a successful person. So if I only had the circumstances, then I could do the thing, and then I would be successful. Does that sound familiar? That is how most people live their lives. They live their lives in reverse. They spend their whole time looking in the rearview mirror instead of through the windshield or the windscreen, if you call it, as you call it in Europe. They spend most of their time looking behind them at the circumstances, which are what? They're the past. They're effect. They are not cause. Remember what I said about cause and effect? Effects don't create effects. Circumstances are the evidence of the decisions you made yesterday. They are not cause today, and yet we worship them. And we allow that to determine our emotional state. And if you're ever wondering who you're being and what you expect, because sometimes people get a little weird about this stuff. Well, how do I know who I'm being? Well, here's the answer to the question, how do you know who you're being? How do you feel? How do you feel? Empowered, enthusiastic, motivated, excited, confident, certain? That's who you're being. You're the next top earner. Or you're feeling pissed off, troubled, anxious, needy. Oh, I need to get the sale. Right? Like a rat trying to find cheese. Well, guess what? That's who you're being. And leaders are not needers. Leaders are what we need. Leaders are the example for the people who will develop some hope that they too could be successful 90 days, a year from now, whenever they finally wake up. And people are waking up every single day. So it's be, do, have in that order. How do we know who we're being? We assign ourselves a beingness. We decide who we are, and then we be that. And then based on that decision, never mind the circumstances, never mind appearances and evidences to the contrary, never mind all the myriad of counter-intentions that you could have swimming around in your brain right now. In a moment of clarity, when you decide who you are, you start making decisions. That's the doing part. You start making decisions in a moment of clarity. Like your decision to be here. Powerful decision. Comfortable? Probably not. Not based on who you were being prior to making that decision. We worship our comfort zone, but here you are. You make a decision to be at our next event, Marketing Mastery, the Peak Conference coming up this summer, which you're going to be learning more about. You make a decision based on who you are, not based on what you have or don't have. Have or don't have is effect. Be is cause. Cause and effect. And the bridge across them is do. That's the doingness. That's where your action comes in. But we're not signing up the person who struggled with money last year, last week, 5 minutes ago to get this job done, to get those goals done that you all wrote down. That's not the person we're counting on to do this. It's the person you're deciding who you are now. And you take action based on that moment of clarity, and you never look back. You know, there's a story in the Bible, in Genesis, about Sodom and Gomorrah. Anybody ever heard about this story? Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Some wicked towns, but there's one righteous family in the town, and an angel comes and says, hey, get out of town, man. We're going to burn it down. And don't look back. Run to the hills. Don't look back. And so they run to the hills, but one of them looks back and turns into a pillar of salt. What does that mean? That means we make a decision in a moment of clarity. The angel just spoke to me, man. I'm running to the hills. Do not look back. Indecision will destroy you. Most people think, well, if I make a wrong decision, if I make a mistake, then I'm going to fail. No. The failure mechanism is indecision, not that you made a mistake. You're going to make mistakes. Make big ones. You'll learn faster, okay? But make a decision, please. Make a decision, okay? Indecision is the killer. That is what stops people. We could also call that procrastination. Those of you who have read Think and Grow Rich, how many of you? Think and Grow Rich, spectacular book. You can also download it for free. It's out of copyright, written in 1936, amidst the Great Depression. Okay, so again, circumstances don't matter. Who are we being, right? So check out Think and Grow Rich. But in that book, Napoleon Hill equates procrastination with indecision. One and the same. That is your enemy. You've got to be decisive, and it's got to be based on where you're going, not where you've been. Am I making sense? This is why more important than what you do is who's doing it. I'm going to leave you with an example. So I came from nothing. I got started in top-tier direct sales. My goal was to make $20,000 per month, just like this gentleman over here was talking about. And for years I had failed. For years I'd done franchising. I put over $100,000 into a franchise. That's not an expensive franchise, by the way. $100,000, 70, 80 hours a week, never made $20,000 a month. Joined countless other home-based businesses, right? Working my butt off, doing milk and cookie parties, product demos, all this stuff. Never made $20,000 a month. I saw those few special people over there in the corner. They were making $20,000. They were roped off on the velvet ropes, man. Those are the untouchables. You can't talk to those people. Notice there's no velvet ropes here in our conference, okay? Exactly. So I saw these superheroes making $20,000 a month, and some of them drove a slick car called a Lexus. All the cool cats had a Lexus, right? So, and I'm from Jersey, I wanted a Lexus, right? And I wanted to make $20,000 a month. And no matter what I did for years, I missed the goal. And finally, in 2002, I found top-tier direct sales, which is obviously our industry. Got started, similar business model to all this, of course, without all the advantages that we now have here. with digital altitude. Got tremendous advantages. I don't mean to sound like the old sage on the mountaintop telling you how hard it was back in yesteryear, but I'm kind of like an old sage on the mountaintop right now, or at least on the stage. But anyway, within 3 months, I hit my goal. Within 3 months, after missing it for years. Finished my first year with about $480,000 in profit. My best month so far is $200,000. So I want you to think about it. Years of missing it, and then finally hitting it, because everything lined up. Everything lined up. That's why I say this is such an auspicious event for you guys. My first month where I made multiple five-figure income, 20,000 plus, was the week after I came back from an event just like this. Like I told you at our opening ceremony yesterday, with me and Jason Howell and our wives at that first event where we actually met. And here we are all these years later. So, but there's a little bit more to the story. And I'm going to run just a couple minutes over because I know we started a bit early. There's more to the story. Yes, I made millions. Yes, it was spectacular. Yes, I applied the be, do, and have principle. But there's one more piece to the story that you got to know, because, my friends, this lesson cost me millions, and I'd like to save you millions right now. Would you like to save millions of dollars? Yes. Okay. More important than what you do is who you do it with. This is a multi-million-dollar lesson. Yes, we made millions, and guess what? We lost almost everything. After some years, there were some decisions that were made which wound up costing us pretty much everything. We had to start over. Disaster, $2 million bankruptcy. How does that sound? Car's gone, house is gone, gone. Start over. Pretty devastating. That's how important it is. When I say more important than what you do is who you do it with, right? That goes kind of in line with more important than what you do is who's doing it, right? So we're talking about who you're being. We're also talking about who you're in business with. And I'll tell you right now, you've got a very, very fortunate combination of people here. Would you agree? Michael Force, Mary D., all the people you've met. So, and you got to be coaches, of course, yesterday. We can all mingle again tonight. The point is that you're working with people of integrity. You're working with, I mean, my goodness, I wrote the book on personal integrity, literally. But, and again, not to set myself up as the ideal, but I value that higher than any other character trait. I would not be here if I did not see that here. I'm not getting younger. Anybody getting younger? No? Okay, great. So how many mistakes do I want to make? Look, I scrutinized this thing. I looked very carefully at it. And I can tell you we're very fortunate to have the people that we have here. Yeah, it's online marketing. We're learning technology, man. That's cool. But again, it's about the people. Hopefully you guys are getting that now. Hopefully you're seeing that this is something you can build on, like a rock, not shifting sands, okay? But a rock. That's what you need to have a strong, sustainable business, and you've got that. So here's what I did. I wound up picking myself up again by my bootstraps, and I had to make this work, just like you guys have to make these 90-day goals happen. They have to happen. Okay, so here's what I did. I sold some stuff out of my garage, some old electronic stuff, not the fancy electronic stuff they got in the sound booth there, some crap, okay? And I got it all together, got a couple $1,000s together, found an opportunity that I thought I could run with. Got the money, got started, put thousands of dollars in it, didn't have money, raised the funds, put the money on the table, grabbed one of these. Does anybody have one of these? A phone? Yes? It wasn't this nice iPhone 7 either. It was an iPhone 3GS, right? And it was 4 years old, and the battery was crapping out. Anyway, I put it on a little stick, a handheld monopod. They call them selfie sticks now. And I walked my dog through a nice little wooded lake area, and I recorded a 5-minute video, and I sent it out to anybody who would listen. Hey guys, it's John Lavenia. Good to see you. I know I haven't been on video in a while, and I know a lot of you have been struggling with, different programs out there, and you've been looking for the right opportunity. Well, I got it. I'm just walking here, my dog right now. So look, click the link below the video. Check out what we got. You got any questions? You got my number. Hit me on Skype, whatever. Really excited about this. Sent it out to anybody who would listen. Had a few thousand people on an email list. Okay, a lot of them hadn't even heard from me in a while. I was in profit in my first week. So am I demonstrating a point here? More important than what you do is who's doing it. Can any of you grab an iPhone, put it on a stick, walk your dog, and talk? Yes. Who's doing it? You've got to know. It's got to be done the way Wallace D. Waddell said in The Science of Getting Rich. The person who gets rich does things in the certain way. No doubt. I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm on the right track. Now all I got to do, start the play button, start the record button on this phone and start running my mouth and get it in front of people. Impinge. That's it. Stop being mysterious. Stop being a secret. Impinge and do it with certainty. Certainty. And you will find that people are starving for leadership. Please, Alfredo, just tell me what to do. Give me some certainty, man. Don't need the sale, please, over there. Just tell me, here's what we're doing because you got a plan. I don't, and I really need one. If you do that, people will flock to you. And if you don't do that, you'll be like a rat trying to get cheese. That's the difference, my friends. Certainty sells. Please never forget that.